Okay. Hi guys, Assalamualaikum. I'm so sorry about the delay. Well, I've tried to use one laptop, gagal. You know, you have to restart and change the file and tukar tempat and apa semua tu. This is what happened to you when you are buta IT and your team is not there with you to support you lah. So again, I truly apologize for the delay. The reason why I don't want to do a biasa-biasa punya webinar because I've got a lot of things that I want to share. From a slides punya point of view, I could have always just buat macam, you know, Facebook Live, ala-ala Alif Yukri, but no, I wanted to do a proper one, and therefore there's a bunch of slides that I nak tunjuk kat you, which is about 20 slides, and again, you know, I really apologize for the delay guys, not my intention. But it is what it is. I'm in the office alone. My team are all, well, like you guys kena lockdown kat rumah. My office dengan my house is about 2 minutes, so I can still go to the office. I technically don't break restricted movement sebab well within the vicinity and tak ada orang, tak kumpul, no one in the office. So again guys, you know, I really apologize for the delay, and you know, I hope the content that I will share with you today will give you so much insight that it was worthwhile waiting about 30 minit for this to start. So again guys, I really apologize for the delay, but you know, we've got about a couple of hundred people already joining to watch dekat dalam ni. InsyaAllah, I guarantee you what I'm going to share with you tonight will be worth your time. Okay, so basically we are in an unprecedented situation, and as usual my content will be in English, therefore I akan cakap bahasa ya guys, for my kawan-kawan yang English dia tak berapa bagus, and you know, and pada kawan-kawan saya yang bahasa dia tak berapa bagus, so I am doing both. My slides English, I akan cakap in bahasa, so betul-betul One Malaysia punya spirit. Today is a full day for me. I just finished the most important meeting for 2020. I cannot reveal what the meeting is all about yet because it's in the form of national interest. All I can say here is that I'm convinced ataupun I yakin gila with certain things yang akan bakal berlaku nanti, and insyaAllah I think we are all in good hands. Right, so therefore, without any delay, I'm just going to start by saying, guys, kita sekarang ni dalam an era whereby it's completely unprecedented. Everything is new, right? The past recession, kita tak boleh guna pakai as part of our benchmark pun as of today, right? So basically, this is completely unprecedented, you know, and tak pernah berlaku lagi in the sejarah of modern Malaysia. Post 1970, benda ni tak pernah berlaku lagi. So I am gonna highlight to you what's the situation globally, apa yang tengah berlaku kat dunia, macam mana Malaysia kalau compare dengan dunia, apakah krisis yang bakal berlaku yang akan impact saya dan anda semua, and apakah peluang yang bakal ada. And I pun nak share juga my personal punya strategi. You boleh ikut ataupun you boleh cuba tak ikut, ataupun you tak nak ikut langsung, terpulang kat you. And then tonight also akan cerita pasal loan moratorium juga, right? And nak buat apa, kena ke bagi diskaun 90% dan apa semua tu. So I think macam biasa kita akan gunakan data, the numbers don't lie, and therefore kita punya orang cakap petunjuk tu is gonna be from data. By the way, mereka-mereka yang tulis salam satu kapitalis ni, thank you so much. Salam satu kapitalis semua, but I think now the mode is a little bit more sober. Apa tu? Salam COVID-19, salam kena kongkong kat rumah. Korang semua okey ke? Beberapa hari kat rumah, you know, I have been very busy. Personally, tak ada satu pun cerita TV yang dapat tengok. So, you know, I hope you guys are enjoying your short break lah, ya. Siapa nak belanja dalgona coffee, I tengok sedap je kan. So, apa tu? Tapi tak pernah dapat rasa lagi. But anyway, let's quickly start. Okay. So guys, as I was saying tadi, we akan ada global recession. Satu dunia akan masuk ke recession, and this recession is something yang kita tak pernah jumpa basically since World War II. Recession yang sekarang satu dunia yang bakal kena ni, we tak pernah jumpa lagi since World War II. Okay, so basically it will be a V shape according to many people, but I feel whether they V shape ataupun dia jatuh deras and then dia naik lambat bergantung kepada setiap negara, apa yang bakal kepimpinan negara itu bakal buat untuk pastikan dia recover laju ataupun dia akan recover lambat. So I tak percaya dengan semua country akan ada V shape ni recovery, right? So there's no more doubt. In fact, semenjak bulan 2 lagi, I've been telling my team and my clients, most likely kita akan ada recession because of COVID-19. And kita make the prediction tu about 1 month before JP Morgan and the World Bank, now IMF cakap, we have recession. So, while I'm proud to be able to cakap kita dapat spot benda ni 1 month lagi awal daripada people who are supposed to be better experts compared to us, but at the same time, recession is never good lah guys. There's always going to be orang cakap orang yang bakal kesian gila rugi teruk, and ada orang juga yang akan orang cakap they will make new kind of wealth lah. But normally in recession, in general, many people will suffer. So in this particular case, walaupun kita betul, I am not too happy, sebab normally bila kita betul tu, it's there's a price to be paid lah. So sekarang ni IMF dah confirm cakap, okay, ni as of this week 2 hari lepas cakap global recession. We predicted 1 month ago, IMF hari ni baru nak cakap, and recovery bergantung kepada negara. So again, I tak percaya blanket satu dunia akan recover 2021, to be honest. We haven't seen the worst kat Indonesia, we haven't seen the worst dekat US, to be honest. So therefore, I tak percaya it's going to be a V-shaped recovery. Now, so dekat Malaysia pula, and I think like I said, we are somewhat, in a way, orang cakap bertuah sebab kita tukar kerajaan, and the way I see it, this kerajaan baru has done a lot of things very very right. Banyak benda betul yang diorang buat, right? From daripada the old kerajaan doesn't even consider about going for lockdown. Yang ni masuk je terus, okay guys, we gotta shut down the borders and apa semua tu very quickly. And even Ministry of Finance dan Bank Negara pun acted very swiftly in preparation of what is going to be a major economic punya slowdown, right? So apa yang Malaysia sedang buat pasal benda ni? So the clue pasal benda ni dah keluar since last month. Okay, so nombor satu punya clue was that OPR has dropped daripada 4% in the last couple of years ni to now 2.5%, right? So OPR ni is basically benda yang bakal decide interest rate rumah kita, interest rate personal loan kita, interest rate car loan kita. So basically OPR ni is one of the most important base rate yang akan decide berapa harga yang kita nak kena bayar untuk kita punya property dulu. So OPR ni, kalau you tengok, all the while is hovering between 2 hingga 3.5%. Okay, 2 hingga 3.5%. So kalau kita tengok in 2009 kita catat OPR terendah at 2%. So buat masa sekarang ni, kalau you tahu, OPR hari ni is already at 2.5%, and it's the first time in the last 10 tahun yang benda ni berlaku, right? So therefore it's a significant move lah guys. So senang cerita lah, kita takkan buat benda ni unless benda ni benda yang sangat diperlukan. So bank negara dah nampak akan ada economic slowdown largely because of COVID-19. So agak laju lah dia buat kerja untuk jatuhkan interest rate. So first round hari tu January, last year pun dah ada. Lepas tu March jatuh lagi sekali, a bit more drastic. So like I said, I think we have one of the best central bankers in the world. I mean it, I'm not being paid to say this. But generally, I feel we really have one of the top central bankers in the world. So today, so dia dah anticipate benda ni. And on top of this, okay, the statutory reserve requirement dekat bank pun dah jatuh daripada 4% to now just 2%. So maksudnya bank sekarang ini ada 30 bilion ringgit additional duit untuk dipinjamkan, untuk diberi kepada kita semua yang layak untuk meminjam ni. So maksudnya ada lagi banyak duit additional 30 bilion masuk dalam market ni. So kenapa nak perlukan lagi banyak duit? So biasanya waktu ada krisis ekonomi, benda yang akan menyebabkan kita laju ataupun kita lambat keluar daripada krisis ekonomi ni adalah liquidity ataupun availability of duit. Sebab kalau kita tak ada duit, kredit tak ada, susah orang nak meminjam, susah orang untuk mulakan bisnes ataupun buat sebarang pelaburan. Domestic ekonomi tu tak jalan. So therefore, bila ada banyak duit yang boleh dipinjam pada kadar yang murah, sebab OPR tadi dah jatuh, so ekonomi tu mula akan jadi rancak semula. So ni normal bila ada kejatuhan ekonomi ataupun recession, majority central bank dia akan mula jatuhkan interest rate supaya kita ni semua ni meminjam, beli rumah, beli banyak benda lah senang cerita kan, buat personal loan, beli kereta, these are the things yang orang cakap kita nak belanja untuk ekonomi, right? So OPR dah jatuh, SSR dah jatuh. So yang ni SSR ni jatuh kepada 1% in 2009. So sekarang ni kita 2%. So kita ada lagi satu lagi room untuk jatuh lagi. So kalau cerita pasal history tu. Tapi the third move ni is benda yang tak pernah berlaku lagi kat dalam sejarah Malaysia ni so far. In fact, I think kalau tak silap, I'm very proud to say this. I think kita ni adalah negara pertama kat dunia ni yang basically buat automated 6 months moratorium untuk semua orang. I mean, Itali ada buat 1 month waktu tengah lockdown dan apa semua tu. Tetapi Malaysia is the first time cakap, you know what, kita akan bakal ada economic slowdown, kita kena kurangkan beban rakyat, beban SME, and therefore automatically, in fact within 1 week after someone made a suggestion untuk buat freeze of repayment ni for 6 bulan ni, within 1 week benda tu decided and it was already announced. So I have to say, like I said guys, I think we have really the best central banker in the world. In fact, this is much better than printing beratus-ratus bilion untuk diberikan. Sebab if you think about it, majority Malaysian punya household kalau you tengok kita punya household lain ni kan, perbelanjaan kita is rumah, kereta, personal loan. Yes, yang 3 benda ni normally akan lebih kurang 50% daripada kita punya gaji. If kita tak perlu nak risau nak bayar 50% ni for 6 bulan ni, so orang cakap kita ni fikiran tu waktu tengah bercuti ni lebih aman lah. And of course benda ni berlaku sebab this is how serious benda ni akan jadi. So sekarang ni, instead of firefighting bila ekonomi dah jatuh teruk baru nak buat benda ni, kita dah buat benda ni 6 bulan ke hadapan, 6 months ahead. So like I said, we have the best Ministry of Finance right now in the world, I feel. And kita ada the best central bankers in the world. I feel we should be very grateful pasal benda ni. Sebab a lot of countries, as of today, you see sebagus-bagus Singapura, which always orang selalu cakap Singapore bagus, Malaysia tak bagus even with their economic stimulus yang baru dilancarkan hari ni yang berpuluh-puluh bilion Sing dollar ni, orang still kena bayar loan orang. If dia kena buang kerja, loan dia still kena bayar. Kita kat Malaysia ni ada kerja ke tak kena buang kerja, belum apa lagi 4-6 bulan tu tak payah bayar. This is how fantastic things are. So basically, like I said, we have one of the best central banker in the world. And if anyone here works for Bank Negara, really please send my regards, to the people who are involved. Sebab I think it's really critical for apa benda yang bakal berlaku the next 6 bulan ni for this to happen. Because this one, to me, benda ni dah buat is 50%, insyaAllah kita akan keluar pada recession within this year. Okay, that is my prediction. So this is how important benda ni, how monumental this particular move, and how serious benda ni. Okay, so it's not lepak-lepak orang tak payah nak bayar tau. Kalau bukan sebab benda ni serius gila, orang takkan buat benda ni. Sebab now with the moratorium, bank akan ada kekurangan income for 6 bulan. Ya, dia tak boleh nak earn interest tu. In fact, ada bank yang dah saya cakap, okay, kita takkan kenakan interest on top of the accrued interest. So like I said, we all understand the grave ataupun the seriousness of this situation, and I think sekarang ni kerajaan, banks, now SMEs and us, all of the rakyat ni, orang cakap we have to rally together to really come out of this as soon as possible, right? So these are the 3 moves, okay, and I want to highlight 2009 apa yang berlaku sebab benda ni penting. So the whole story of malam ni will be, orang cakap, based on what dah berlaku in 2009 and how I think benda ni akan berlaku in next 2-3 tahun. In 2009, SSR kita is at 1%, hari ni is at 2%, so ada ruang untuk jatuh lagi. 2009, OPR kita is at 2%, hari ni OPR kita 2.5, sikit lagi. Okay. 2009, Prime Minister Najib basically launch a lot of stimulus punya package which is above 30 billion ringgit, including things like macam MRT1 dengan MRT2. Okay. Tapi 2009 tak ada moratorium. Okay. So kalau kita tengok apa yang sedang berlaku pada 2020 ni, SSR dah mula jatuh, ada kebarangkalian tu dia jatuh ke 1%, OPR dah 2.5, it's already a 10-year low, mungkin tak akan jatuh to 2%, very likely. Okay. Stimulus besok dia akan dilancarkan. I punya firasat the total value of the stimulus will be more than 30 billion because this is more serious. Okay. And 2009 tak ada moratorium, guys. Now kita dah ada, kita dah buat in advance. Like I said, I appreciate this move because this is by far the most important economic move. Even Trump pun tak boleh fight ni, moratorium ni. So rakyat US lah guys, bulan depan bakal 800,000 bakal kehilangan pekerjaan. Okay, and they still have to service their loan. This is how lucky we all are right now in Malaysia. We are the only country yang tengah buat benda ni. And I can guarantee you guys, akan ada banyak negara akan copy and paste kita punya langkah buat moratorium of 6 bulan. Okay, so that's that. Okay, so because of that, ini adalah beberapa prediction. So prediction diorang ni is very doom and gloom kepada sesiapa yang tertentu. Akan ada berita baik untuk 10% orang kat sini. So 10% ni bukan sebab korang special ke apa. It's just that you can understand and korang boleh buang fear to act. Okay, so this is our prediction. Okay, and you can see, we predicted that kita akan ada recession as early as last month, and now it's confirmed we had a recession. So now we are making a bunch of predictions. Okay, so first and foremost, lockdown ni most likely akan continue beyond the next 3 minggu. Okay, and like I said lah, I had a bunch of very important meeting. I have a bunch of very important meeting. And then from the meetings, I understand now, I think the priority of the country as of today ataupun leadership ni to pastikan keselamatan kita dulu. So basically, until kita ada 0 case of new infection for a few days, I expect kita akan kena lockdown. Temporary lockdown ni yang macam kita tengah ada sekarang ni. Okay, will continue. Now, with the move of kita semua tak payah nak bayar housing loan and car loan and personal loan apa semua tu, I expect akan ada salary cut waktu tengah kita tengah kena lockdown kat rumah, tak boleh nak pergi office, tak boleh nak kerja sangat dan apa semua tu, work from home sangat, walhal buat dalgona coffee and watch Netflix, and there will be a lot of syarikat, especially SME, akan initiate a salary cut of between 30% ke 70%. Now, kenapa nak kena buat salary cut of 30% to 70%? Actually, if you look at the data semua, kawan-kawan semua, majority SME, kalau ikutkan, unless for example you are working for GLC dan apa semua tu, they cannot afford to pay full salary tanpa zero sales ataupun zero revenue. So sekarang ni, if you can see, restoran tutup unless you are talking about Grab, right? And you know, for me, for example, even nak buat seminar pun tak boleh, nak bawa clients for one-on-one pun tak boleh. So there's just no meeting. Basically, everything is closed. There's no revenue. Okay, there's no revenue. So therefore, we expect, unless SME initiate a 30% to 70% pay cut because of the productivity dah jatuh by 30% to 70% juga, the SMEs cannot survive more than 6 months. Okay, so the option here is very simple, guys. Sama ada salary cut ataupun the company will be out of business and we have to go look for new jobs. And therefore, one of the things kenapa moratorium ni sangat-sangat penting is that when that happens, katalah for example, if the company needs to put a salary cut of katalah 30%, but your loan repayment as of today is 50% of your salary, you actually still make 20%. So it's, orang cakap, in fact you save a lot more sebab as of today you tak nak pergi office, tak nak bayar parking, tak nak bayar petrol, makan pun murah. As of today my family punya meal budget per day is about RM20 kot sebab everything masak sendiri kat rumah kan. When you no longer buy stuff, then you cut down your costs greatly. So basically, guys, no one likes a salary cut, but I am predicting that most SMEs have no choice. Kalau dia buka buku dorang to you guys, you will find out that a lot of companies cannot sustain more than 3 bulan paying full salary at zero revenue. Memang tak boleh. A lot. So the option is that dorang jatuh bankrupt and we all have to look for jobs, or a salary cut until lockdown is over and kita can do business macam normal. Okay, so that's prediction number 1. Prediction number 2 here is that because of the global slowdown, and if you see, for example, interest rate is being cut dekat US now at 0%, UK and apa semua tu, everyone is like massive cut. So bank negara punya 0.5 recently ni is like nothing compared to, for example, what US is doing, right? So therefore, we think OPR akan jatuh most likely 50 basis points this year, and therefore kalau hari ni your new interest rate bila you ambil loan rumah, guys, is 3.8 average. Now it will be 3.3, 3.2. So for the first time, guys, interest rate jatuh bawah 4%, not even like border 4%. We are looking at about 3.2, 3.3% interest rate for housing. This is for the first time, unprecedented. Okay, now the prediction here that, like I said, since last month in my post, I cakap my staff, my client pun dah bagi tahu that I think we'll have a recession, right? But I feel that from a policy point of view, fiscal dengan monetary policy punya point of view, I think we are actually quite ahead compared to most countries, in fact even US. And therefore, I think we will actually come up from recession faster than most countries kalau unemployment remains low. So maksudnya, if SME can survive for the next 3 hingga 6 bulan, then we'll come out from the recession within 6 to 9 months. But if your boss comes to you and tiba-tiba cakap, I nak buat pay cut 50%, otherwise company tutup, but korang tak mau and pergi report dia, dia kena saman pula, and lepas tu and they have no choice but to close down the company. If ramai yang pilih untuk buat macam tu, then no choice, a lot of company will have to shut down and the employment becomes high. Today is below 4%. Okay, NPL is below 2%. But if the unemployment becomes 10%, because SME 6 juta minimum pekerja, 1 million SME 6 juta pekerja, and therefore if the unemployment remains low, kita akan come out from this recession very quickly. And we have to support each other. So by that means everyone sebenarnya have to take a cut somewhere. But we all survive. We all still have jobs. Okay, to me that's the most important benda. Okay, and lastly, typically like all recession, when interest is kept low, okay, normally it will lead to a property bull run, provided dua benda berlaku. We can keep unemployment rendah. So that means it's below 4%, below 5%. And we launch a lot of mega infrastructure project to kick up the economy. Okay, so this is our prediction. And kenapa kita make all of this prediction? Sebab number 1, this basically just came in hari ni, right? JP Morgan basically cakap our COVID-19 strategy far exceeds ASEAN, even some European here. Look guys, you have people I think watching this video from UK. Now these guys are still going for concert last week, maybe in fact even this week. Okay, they are still going for marathon and all this shit. Okay, and you know, and they have more cases compared to us. No, it just doesn't make sense. There are a lot more people dying kat sana, and yet they're still continuing to go do this. They're gonna go through the Italy punya route right now. Not even Prince Charles pun kena. Alright, so therefore, actually the way we are managing COVID-19, guys, if you ask me, is actually very very good. We are taking the tough punya call untuk buat benda ni, whereby lockdown ni sangat perlu. Sebab can you imagine beribu orang mati because of COVID-19 and everyone just takut nak keluar rumah. Ekonomi kita memang akan terus tutup. Today, we are okay guys. You know, we are just now waiting for benda ni to reda. All the cluster tu dah tutup, infection tu, everything is under control, and then we can open balik ekonomi kita. But I'm telling you, for US, as of today, US now will become number one COVID-19 cases. You know, yesterday dah 10,000 new cases. So it's just crazy. Okay, and Trump is already talking about dia nak buka balik from lockdown ni sebab dia worried about ekonomi. Bayangkan, he rather people die because of COVID-19 rather than, you know, sebab dia tak nak business jatuh. So if you see the priority, to be honest guys, I'm just grateful to be a Malaysian now. As of now, during this crisis, I am actually truly grateful to be in Malaysia, to be a Malaysian. Okay. So Indonesia lagilah gila, you know. You've got people in the case of whereby orang mati dia pergi buka sebab dia nak kapankan betul-betul, and dia nak kebumikan betul-betul, and the whole kampung because of that kena COVID-19. So can you imagine? That's how bad things are everywhere, and kita kat sini terkawal. And of course, we haven't seen the full impact yet, but to me, we have a very good DG. Okay, we have a very good DG, and then I think you know, our Prime Minister, our new Prime Minister, is willing to ambil langkah yang susah that will hurt the economy badly by implementing lockdown ni very early. Sebab the earlier we do it, the faster kita contain benda ni, the faster we can come. Okay, it's as simple as that. So today, I'm very happy to see a report from JP Morgan cakap, you know, our move of, you know, managing COVID-19 is better. By the way, guys, Singapore hari ni masih boleh lagi ya, kalau korang nak pergi berkumpul lah, nak buat seminar satu day, masih boleh lagi this week. But I think start from yesterday kot dah kena ban. So can you bayangkan, kat Singapore pun tak ketat macam kita. We are already taking a preemptive move. So to me, I'm proud lah to be a Malaysian lah. Lepas tu, like I said, the moratorium is a phenomenal punya economic punya move. I think it's the best move you have waktu tengah krisis macam ni. Is far better than printing money. You know, it's far better than printing money, because we're not like US boleh print 1 trillion, 2 trillion and people don't devalue your currency. We don't have the same advantage. Okay, so therefore, like I said, as of today, of all the best economic move, to me this is by far the best. We are the first one in the world, and I can tell you right now, a lot of countries akan ciplak and copy kita punya ni, strategy. And then, you know, as I also mentioned, you know, if you look at 2009 and 2020, it's very very similar, except that 2009 interest rate is about 4.5, 4.8. You know, after OPR jatuh at 2, today at 2.5 OPR, interest rate kita is about 3.8. Kalau jatuh at 2% OPR, interest rate kita akan jadi 3.5, you know, 3.2%. Yeah? So that's just amazing. Now, so the last time kita ada krisis and kita jatuhkan OPR ke 2%, the next year 2010 sampai 2015-2016, we have a property bull run. So yang kalau biru tu is property punya line. So if you can see here, okay, the property punya line tu is quite stable, right? So we have a property bull run. Okay, we have a property bull run, and a lot of people make money out of property. So, and there's a lot of people who become instant millionaire, including saya, yang to be honest waktu tu sangat bernasib baik sebab 2009, 2010, you know, waktu tu banyak orang takut gila nak beli rumah dan apa semua tu. But to me, very simple lah. I beli rumah, orang boleh bayar duit sewa, boleh cover punya installment, aku beli je. And at that point of time, I was bodoh and lucky enough. Like I said, I was bodoh and lucky enough sebab smart people don't buy anything. Dia takut kan? Dia tengok semua ni takut. I ni bodoh and lucky because I nampak, I buat kira-kira I, okay lepas ni, therefore, I beli 20 biji property before 2010 habis. So during property buran, benda yang saya beli 200,000 become 400,000, 500,000, 600,000. So therefore bayangkan beli 20 biji start property buat average minimum 200,000 lah. Right? So waktu tu ya guys, 2013, 2014. So if you beli and you jual property for 200,000 untung, your friend will be looking at you, property investor, bro, 200,000 je? Siannya. So can you imagine we are having those kind of conversation in 2013, 2014. Okay, so when you buy 20 each property buat 200,000, so if you do the math, it's easily 4 to 5 million. Like I said, my tax bill pun I nak kena bayar because I can no longer pay RPGT. I'm on different punya business rate. I kena bayar additional $500,000 because my profit of flipping property was 2 million. Okay, so this is how good it was during property buran. So normally bila interest rate rendah, orang akan mula nak meminjam untuk invest ataupun beli banyak benda. So therefore they beli property, and therefore when interest rate murah, duit kita bagi jatuh harga because interest rate kurang kan. So apa yang berlaku is that asset normally macam stocks ataupun property biasanya akan naik. Ya, biasanya akan naik ya. So ini pula kalau you tengok guys tu, waktu 2008, 2009 tu, that one year tu, stock market tu jatuh about 40%. Ya? About 40% jatuh within that one year tu, and people who pick it up, waktu KLCI 800 during end of 2009 tu, if you invest in the next 2 to 3 years tu, you could easily make 100 to 200% returns on your money lah. So of course at that point of time, I ni tak berapa cerdik kan, you tengok muka aku dah tahu muka orang tak berapa pandai kan. So therefore kalau you tengok waktu tu, I tak beli satu stok pun. I tengok je waktu tu kan, sebab tak kerti kan. So bagi saya senang je, jangan beli benda yang kita tak faham. So kita ni orang tak berapa cerdik ni, so waktu tu tak faham sangat pasal stok, how to tengok company dan apa semua tu, and therefore tak masuk lah. Tapi like I said guys, waktu tu Asia 60 sen, and then it went up to RM3 lebih. So it's 400% return guys. So for some stocks. So there's a reason kenapa nak tunjuk chart ni. Sebab kalau you nampak kat sini, in terms of stability of kenaikan harga, property is better compared to stocks. Tapi over short term tu, bila stock jatuh teruk tu, kebarangkalan tu you buat duit like 50% or 100% or 200% in a year versus your capital is high. Okay? If you buy of course the right punya if you buy the right punya property, you buy the right punya stock, you buy into the right company, you buy into some form of fundamental, you should be fine. Okay. So property stable, we have a property buran sebab cheap interest rate from 2010 nanti 2015, 2016. Lepas tu stock pula, if you see jatuh 40%, lepas tu dia naik more than 50% within 1 year. Okay, within 1 year. So this is what happened 2009, 2008, 2009, 2010. Okay. So therefore, okay, this is my personal strategy as of today. So you all know I'm a hardcore property investor. Okay, I'm a hardcore property investor. Tapi like I said, I think there's a significant opportunities. I've been telling my clients since last week, this is what we should all do, right? Sebab if you know, our highest point of stock market is 1,800. As of today, dah jatuh pergi 1,300, and I think it's gonna drop a little bit more. Okay, how much more tak tahu. We will wait until the peak of COVID-19 ni, baru kita akan tahu, right? So therefore, my plan right now is to ambil as much cash as possible and to buy stock within the next 1 to 2 years. Okay, and to buy stocks within the next 1 to 2 years. Right, so that will be my strategy lah, and my clients punya strategi yang I advise. You guys terpulang kat you lah, so ikut suka hati. The reason why you are here, you nak belajar kan. So I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm not telling you please go all and copy me, but this is what I am doing personally. I can get as much cash as possible and buy stocks. For property pula, I don't stop buying. I will use as little cash as possible to buy as much property as possible. And this is similar to 2009. 2009 I beli berapa? 20 biji kan. So I'm definitely gonna buy more this year, right? So tapi I nak beli tanpa modal sebab property ni yang best dia is that as of today, because of this crisis and developer ada banyak unsold inventory, it's not difficult to even get a 3% discount. Okay. So my property punya strategy is very simple. I akan obey 7 supply ni, 7 kriteria ni. First is that I nak beli property yang boleh bagi cash flow dan capital gain saja, right? And to get cash flow dengan capital gain, you kena ada 7 benda ni. First, you nak beli pada harga median dan below. Kalau you beli rumah baru, your premium of new property versus old must be within a certain range. Kalau you terlebih bayar, memang mampus rugi. Okay, there's a lot of people lost money buying primary market property ataupun undercon sebab dia terlampau bayar lagi mahal premium new versus old tu, and dia tak jaga median. Okay, lepas tu third one, which is the most important one, is MRO. Nanti akan explore benda ni nanti kalau ada masa. But basically talking about rental. I nak beli property grade A, grade B saja, whereby yang boleh dapat cash flow dan juga capital gain. Lepas tu I akan pastikan I takkan terlebih bayar for each property punya tier. Property ni ada tier 1, tier 2 dengan tier 3. Setiap kawasan tu ada tier dia, therefore jangan terlebih bayar berbandingkan tier dia. I nak beli property yang ada booster lagi ataupun cerita baru so far, supaya ada kenaikan harga lagi lah. And then last kali, I nak beli kat tempat yang whereby from a supply punya point of view, supply dia tak terlampau banyak. Sebab kita tak nak beli macam kat Cyberjaya whereby dulu studio rental 1,800, 2,000 boleh dapat, 2012, 2011, hari ni nak dapat 800, 900 pun susah. Sebab apa? Terlampau banyak unit punya supply. So therefore supply kena jaga. So if you nak beli property this year, I would suggest you tolong follow, you tolong follow 7 rule ni, sebab kalau you tak follow 7 rule ni beli property baru, you ada kebaran kalian untuk rugi. Okay, so ni berdasarkan experience of 15 tahun, I sendiri pernah beli yang rugi, right? So therefore I can tell you follow 7 benda ni, insyaAllah you takkan rugi. Okay, so ini strategi saya. So then orang akan tanya dengan I, property macam ni exist ke bro? Kau boleh beli at 30%, set boleh dapat cash flow lagi, masuk akal ke tak masuk akal, right? So for me very simple, kita tunjuk dengan apa yang kita tengah buat sekarang ni, right? So today one of the property yang kita orang tengah beli, yang tengah tengok sekarang ni is 31% below market value in freehold. Okay, so yang ni is a sample lah of property yang kita orang tengah beli, right? So therefore kalau you punya discount 30% guys, even on 70% 70% punya financing is zero dah. Okay, so siapa yang dah ada loan lebih daripada 2 biji kan, so you boleh dapat 70%. So even for you, this is a zero down deal. Remember I cakap I nak beli seberapa banyak property yang boleh menggunakan cash sedikit yang boleh. So the cash I nak beli stocks. Okay, so in this particular case, kalau you boleh dapat 90% loan, you akan dapat cashback. But here's the best part. So cashback ni very dangerous kalau you ambil membabi buta. But you kena pastikan cash flow boleh cover. So in this particular case, based on the rental yang kita orang buat, based on market study kawasan tu, you beli rumah ni tak payah bayar, dapat 140,000 cash and rental still boleh cover. Kenapa? Walking distance tu 4 mall, ada 3 LRT dengan MRT line within walking distance juga, and ada 20,000 peluang pekerjaan di dalam 2 km radius pada tempat tu. So means guys, people can basically take a Grab 5 hingga 10 minit to go to work, and or people can jalan kaki. So when you have 3 MRT and LRT line, 5 station, 4 malls and 20,000 peluang pekerjaan, like I said lah, orang cakap dia punya satu strategi penyewaan tu ada banyak option. Nombor 2, insyaAllah penyewa tak akan putus. Okay, so these are the things yang orang cakap kita orang tengah beli, just to give you an idea what kind of deals that you boleh dapat hari ni. Sebab a lot of people ask, boleh ke tak boleh buat lagi benda ni? So I mean like, if you tak ada ilmu tu and you don't know how to do it, memang tak dapat lah. You will not know what to buy and apa semua tu. But for us macam, well, boleh je. And we have property yang siap tahun ni still positive cash flow. So you know, for some people bila cakap beli private market, jangan bro, rugi. Aku beli pada maju rugi. Median langgar, multiple rental option tak ada. Kau terlebih bayar new versus old, tak ada booster, tak ada job creation, supply berlambat, memanglah rugi. Right? So if you follow my 7 rule yang tadi I ajar tu, kebarangkalan you untuk rugi tu adalah sangat-sangat rendah. Sebab even property yang baru siap hari ni ya, tahun ni ya, we can still rent that positive cash flow. So malah nak cakap banyak, we have a lot of testimonial of client yang memang tu siapa, well, a lot of people akan dengki yang cakap benda ni tak boleh buat. Well, terpulang, if you tak ada ilmu, tak boleh buat lah. Tak boleh buat, jangan nak buat. Right? But kita orang yang boleh buat ni, we ada je case study, testimonial apa semua tu, and we are quite confident. So these are deals yang kita orang tengah tengok hari ni, 31% below, boleh dapat cashback because we need cash kan. And on top of that, rental masih boleh cover. So this is crazy. Sebab apa? Hari ni developer sedang terdesak. So orang lain beli dapat diskaun lebih kurang 10% je, kita orang dapat 31%. Kenapa? Well, when you beli 50 biji, 100 biji, it's not difficult to dapat more discount. Now, so cerita pasal moratorium. I nampak Najib pun siap ada upload Facebook status. Dia suruh landlord bagi 90% discount dekat penyewa waktu ni. So setuju ke tak setuju? Ikut logik nampak macam setuju, patut membantu apa semua tu. Tapi macam saya cakap, nombor tu tak menipu. Masalahnya dengan ramai orang ni, ramai orang tak faham nombor. Right? So therefore I akan tunjukkan nombor ni, akan bagi tahu apa strategi saya, apa saranan saya, tapi you kena faham nombor dulu apa-apa pun. Right? So kita dah lukis elok-elok. Okay. Now, on the interest portion of property tu, ada bank yang cakap tetap berjalan, ada bank yang cakap tak, dia akan waive. So bergantung kepada bank ya. Untuk hire purchase, so far is semua berhenti 6 bulan, principal semua tak payah bayar, so postpone 6 bulan. Tempoh pinjaman akan tambah minimum 6 bulan untuk property. Okay. Dan 6 bulan confirm untuk kereta. Okay. So ringkasan bagi pinjaman ni, basically you akan interest yang you tak bayar untuk 6 bulan ni, dia akan tambah sampai 70. So maksudnya you akan kena bayar extra interest. Okay. So patut ke tak patut ambil moratorium ni sebab kena bayar extra interest kan? Okay. So ini cadangan saya. Okay. First kena faham nombor. Okay. Now guys, bila korang bayar loan, nak bagi contoh ni katalah loan kita installment tiap-tiap bulan tu 2,500 loan rumah tu Now, kalau loan kita 35 tahun, loan kita 35 tahun, actually guys, interest yang ditangguhkan kena bayar nanti tu, korang mesti kena bayar tau. Korang bukannya kena waive interest tu. Korang mesti kena bayar nanti. Is 1925 tau, ataupun 77% daripada 2,500. So guys, logik ke kalau you nak bagi discount 90% bila your cost is 77%? Sebab interest tu you still kena bayar. Dia cuma tak payah nak bayar hari ni, but kena bayar nanti. It's not free. Interest tu kena postpone. So katalah loan korang tinggal 20 tahun je, interest is 56% daripada apa yang korang bayar tiap bulan. So contoh kalau kita dah bayar loan rumah kita tu, kita tinggal 15 tahun je lagi, now you kena bayar interest 45%. So kalau you nak bagi discount sewa 50%, okay. Sebab apa? Cost you cuma 45%. You faham tak? Interest tu is your cost, you kena bayar. How can you waive something yang you kena bayar? It's not free, you kena bayar nanti. Okay, so therefore, sebelum you buat apa-apa keputusan, you kena faham nombor ni. Okay, just understand kalau loan you tinggal 30 tahun lagi, setiap bulan apa yang you bayar, 2,500 tu, 1,800 tu adalah cost untuk you bayar interest yang akan kena bayar nanti. Dia tak hilang cost ni 1,800 ni, untuk 6 bulan ni, you kena bayar 1,800 kali dengan 6 bulan tu, you kena bayar nanti. So to me, if you nak cakap sebagai tuan rumah, janganlah kafe tali sangat. You tak payah nak bayar kat bank setiap bulan ni, untuk 6 bulan ni. Bagilah kita orang diskaun 80%. Okay, orang sekolahkan sikit penyewa ni, bagi tahu dengan dia, bila kita bayar tu dia ada interest dengan dia ada principal. So principal memang tak payah bayar, tak ada penalty kalau tak payah bayar 6 bulan ni. Tapi interest tu jalan and akan kena bayar nanti. Okay, So korang kena faham nombor ni, baru korang boleh buat keputusan berapa diskaun nak bagi kepada penew. Okay? Clear? Tak faham nombor ni, jangan menggatal tiba-tiba nak bagi diskaun. Okay? Tahu-tahu korang dah rugi. Ni maksudnya kau jual barang, okay? Kau jual barang, harga barang kau 1,900 tapi kau jual pada harga 800. Okay? So, tu namanya bodoh. Okay? Bila tak faham benda ni. So, jangan jadi tak reti pasal nombor. So, you kena faham setiap bulan bila kita bayar installment, ada interest, ada principal. Interest punya portion ni, dia tak discount tau. You kena bayar lagi nanti ni. 6 bulan ni dia akan kumpulkan nanti. You still kena bayar. So therefore guys, jangan suka-suka nak bagi diskaun lah. Okay, now untuk mereka yang menyewa, yang nak minta diskaun, so now you know, you punya tuan rumah hari ni, okay, dia bukannya, memanglah dia tak payah bayar hari ni, tapi 77% interest ni akan dikumpulkan and dia kena bayar nanti. So janganlah tekan dia sampai nak minta 50% diskaun. You nak minta katalah 23% diskaun sebab you dah tahu loan dia 35 tahun, I tak kisah nak bagi. Yang tu ni you nak bagi, bagilah. Okay. So boleh screenshot benda ni, jangan lupa kredit kita orang balik. Nanti apa tu, orang Malaysia ni banyak yang mengaku dia punya je, right? So kita tak nak jadi macam tu lah. Be kinder to each other kan, right? So guys, faham konsep interest versus principal dan baru buat keputusan nak bagi ataupun tak nak bagi diskaun. Okay. Now, but ini personal punya strategi dengan suggestion. I tak galakkan semua orang follow. I tak juga suggest semua orang ikut apa yang I cakap ni, tapi is what I will personally do. Kalau you punya savings hari ni, okay, you punya savings hari ni tak sampai 50,000, I think your priority hari ni is to increase your savings. Okay, whether you want to give discount ke tak, is terpulang. Tetapi you really need to increase your saving. Kalau hari ni your savings is less than 50,000. Okay, point number 1. Now, point number 2 tu, EPF account 2,500 kan? Ada yang cakap ambil duit sendiri. Guys, ambil duit tu, you boleh ambil, you ambil. Janganlah kau pergi beli benda-benda lain mengarut ni pula kan? Pergi Lazada shopping. Okay, simpan. You don't know bila you nak pakai 500 tu. Right? Over 1 year is 6,000. You have no idea bila you perlukan. What if your company tutup? So jangan pandang rendah 500 tu. It's enough to pay for meals for 1 month. Yeah? Okay. So to me, sebab my strategy as of today tu ambil sebanyak cash yang boleh. Even for me, I will withdraw my 500. Sebab I nak beli either unit trust ataupun I nak beli stocks. Sebab it will bottom, right? So 2-3 bulan lagi. And like I said, I perlukan sebanyak cash yang boleh supaya I boleh take advantage of beli stock yang betul ataupun even unit trust. Okay. Now thirdly, sebab I ada kemampuan, my portfolio has got high cash flow. So ini rezeki saya, alhamdulillah. So saya akan match I punya tenant punya kesengsaraan. So maksudnya, katalah dia kerja dengan SNE, bos dia cakap I nak kena potong gaji you 50%, ya, untuk tempoh kurungan 2 bulan ataupun 3 bulan ni, I akan cakap tak apa, you bayar 50% of saving. So apa yang dia kena potong gaji dia, I akan match. If Mamat ni kena buang kerja, I akan bagi duduk free untuk 3 bulan. Tapi guys, yang ni I boleh buat sebab I mampu. Okay. So therefore guys, for me, ini benda I kena buat. Of course, kalau you tengok rule yang I ajar tadi kan, my loan sekarang ni paling kuat pun, you know, tinggal 20 tahun. I mana patutnya bagi 50% diskaun ataupun more than 50% diskaun. Tapi to me, like I said, my property dah positive cash flow dah lama. And for me, I tak kisah about benda ni because hari ni, I think like I said, I want us to be kinder to each other. And mana yang kita boleh bantu, kita cuba bantu. Okay. So if member tu betul-betul gaji dia kena potong, okay, if betul-betul gaji dia kena potong 50%, I memang tak kisah bagi 50% diskaun. Kalau dia kena buang kerja, I tak kisah nak bagi dia duduk free for 3 bulan. Right? But it is because I mampu, I juga ada some form of savings, my property pun dalam positive cash flow. And by the way juga guys, for a lot of you yang property negative cash flow for 5 tahun ni, you pun, your tenant tak pernah kesian kat you kan. By the way, if you fikir-fikir balik you beli, you bayar bank bulan-bulan 3,000, you bayar 1,000, dia rent 1,000 je tetap bulan you negatif 2,000 tu, dia tak pernah kesian kat you. So therefore, like I said, kalau you punya savings tu tak berapa banyak and you tak mampu nak buat benda ni, okay, ramai dah tak mampu nak buat benda ni, dah mampu nak bagi macam saya 50% punya matching discount apa semua tu, you boleh buat, terpulang kat masing-masing. So for me juga, I ada beberapa property yang dah habis bayar, alhamdulillah, kan, rezeki murah, like I said lah, beli property pun waktu tu murah tu dah dapat 2 juta. So there's a lot of property yang I bayar banyak and I fully pay. So therefore, I can refinance balik all of this property because I nak keep as much cash as possible. Guys, interest rate tak sampai 4%. Murah gila guys. Murah gila. Kau ambil 4% ni, kau capak masuk ASB, tapi itulah ASB belum tentu boleh dapat lebih daripada 4%. But what I'm trying to say here is that boleh tak you dapat more than 4% per year? For me it's very easy. Okay? For me it's very easy. So therefore, I can cash out hopefully a high 6 angka, potentially 7 angka, and I just stand by cash untuk beli stocks. Sebab like I said, property for me, game dia senang cerita, I beli property yang discount dia banyak gila, gunakan cash sekurang yang boleh. And cash tu I nak guna untuk beli stocks, most of it, sebab stocks boleh ni 100 to 200% in the next 2-3 tahun. And then last kali I punya advice is that guys, in the next 2-3 bulan ni it's gonna be tough for everyone. So it's gonna be tough for your boss, it's gonna be tough for your tenants, it's gonna be tough for family members and apa semua tu. If you can afford it, please be kind. Okay, if you can afford it, please be kind. Okay, that's what I hope I can see from this community. So, in summary guys, okay, in summary, sebagai penutup, so ada cerita sebagai tenant you nak kena buat apa discount you boleh minta dekat you punya landlord. Sebagai landlord, apa you boleh tunjuk kat your tenant, bagi dia, orang cakap, terangkan. You can say no nicely and you explain why. Okay? And normally if you explain nicely no, then orang akan okay. Sebab ramai orang fikir bila kau tak nak bayar bank langsung is 100%. Betul lah. So kenapa kau nak minta kita orang bayar tu, tapi dia tak faham interest cost tu jatuh kat belakang tu. Right? So in summary guys, okay, I feel gawat COVID-19 ni is a global punya gawat. It's not a Malaysia punya problem. It's got nothing to do with dulu apa benda semua tu. Tak ada siapa nak salahkan siapa-siapa Perdana Menteri tu, tak masuk akal. Whether it's Tun as a Prime Minister or Najib Prime Minister, sama je, it's gonna be a recession this year. COVID-19 hits everyone, including Singapore or China. So kalau diorang pun tak boleh escape, kita pun tak boleh lah. So there's no point blaming. There's no hatred required lah. Because I see some people still macam nak main politik. Oh, kenapa tak buat ni, kenapa tak buat benda ni, like macam tu, macam if it's so easy, kau buat lah. Right? But for me, 2020 ni is a global crisis. Global crisis means massive opportunity. The last time there's a crisis macam ni, I made a nice 7-figure punya net worth. Alhamdulillah, rezeki for me. Right? And I made about easily 4 million. I tak kira semua. LHDN tahu I buat lebih dari 2. So, and they have made me paid for it. So, like I said lah, I think the crisis this round will be similar if not better in terms of opportunity. Okay, so therefore akan ada 2 kategori of people who will watch this video. Number 1 is that people who watch and tak prepare langsung will most likely will be worse off 2 years from now compared to hari ini. Those who are unprepared, you will be worse off. Those who are prepared will be much better off in 2 or 3 years time compared to hari ini. So you can choose to be the unprepared or you can choose to be prepared. I suspect a lot of you here are here because you want to be prepared, right? So I think it's good, right? So you tengok bagi benda free pun baru 6,000 orang join group ni. Free ke? Yes. Ilmu macam ni siapa nak bagi for free, right? Orang macam beribu-ibu masuk kelas, aku bagi for free ni, right? So for free pun baru 6,000. orang, right? So anyway, within 1 week lah, let's see if we can grow this community. Okay. And the other thing here is that I also have to warn you, the next 2-3 bulan ni will be the toughest in the last 20 tahun kot of this country, right? Because we cannot move, tak boleh nak keluar, tak boleh nak buat business, tak boleh nak buat sales, everyone is stuck. Okay. And therefore, for a lot of SMEs, they have no choice. Either dia potong gaji, okay, dia potong gaji, or they have to close business and everyone, 30-40 employee to be unemployed. Okay. So therefore, if your boss propose for a pengurangan gaji, my suggestion, be open-minded about it, especially now that moratorium kita nak bayar 6 bulan. But of course, first and foremost, kalau dia suruh potong gaji, janganlah dia suruh potong gaji kau je. So if kau seorang je yang kena potong gaji, orang lain semua tak kena potong gaji, you have a different problem lah altogether, right? But what I'm trying to say here is that normally cost cutting macam ni means everyone akan kena, and everyone kena, like I said lah, you have to be understanding that it's not easy, especially for bosses today. You know that I've not watched a series, I've not been able to do much at home simply because I need to keep my business afloat. You know, that's my priority, to keep all of my employees, to make sure they're not jobless in the next 6 months, right? So things are going to be tougher for the next 2-3 bulan, but after that, I think there's a big window of opportunity that will come. So if you want to refinance, do it now sebelum kena tolak gaji, right? If you want to apply for a loan, do it now sebelum kena tolak gaji, right? And keep as much cash as possible for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you are jobless, you are the reserve. If you are not jobless, you can take opportunity to go and invest. Okay. And last kali, for me and my clients, like I said, very simple. I can put a lot of cash to buy stocks in the next couple of months, and I will buy maximum number of property on maximum leverage, because as long as my rental can cover, it doesn't matter what kind of loan I can take, right? And for me, like I said lah, if I'm buying properties yang macam ni, whereby I ambil 140,000 cash pun, I boleh dapat cash flow positif RM200, well, I take it lah, free money guys, 140,000 siapa nak bagi, right? So to me, it becomes a no-brainer decision. Okay, so guys, that's that. I hope you have enjoyed the free webinar malam ni, and I've got a couple of announcements. So I'm gonna do one more webinar on Saturday, this time organized by someone else, so I hope there's no delay at my end. So again, I apologize guys for terlambat start malam ni, but I believe that the content that I'm teaching you malam ni is really insight yang you takkan dapat from anywhere else. I am guessing a lot of people copy and paste my content ni, akan ciplak, rembat, itu dah biasa dah, we are normal lah, maka dia memang kena rembatnya. So we're quite used to people copying lah, condemning lah, tapi semua cakap dalam group kat sini tak berani. So normal lah, you know, that's quite normal. So on Saturday, okay, kita akan ada webinar and kita akan bawa a stock expert. Okay, so dia akan debate pasal stock and I akan debate pasal property. Tapi dia tak tahu lagi ni, yang I pun actually nak beli stock juga, so jangan bagi tahu dengan dia. So betul, so again it's going to be free. You know, you guys are going to enjoy. Kita akan debate, hentam each other. You know, akan debate, hentam each other. So betul. Join this webinar. Kita akan buat announcement tomorrow. Lepas tu, we receive quite a fair bit of WhatsApp daripada people who have attended Road to 3 million last year and this year, yang tak jadi client last year and this year, and they are all talking about becoming a client. So guys, kita ada this thing called the special COVID-19 package, because we are now locked down and apa semua tu. So we are putting jadi client ni to be on sale, and to the point that, you know, it's free. Okay, so for those yang dah pernah attend Road to 3 million and nak jadi client, you can text Amalina at 012-420-6090 and ask her macam mana nak jadi client for free, right? So ada package berbayar, ada package free, so you can choose which one. But discount massive gila, is banyak lah senang cerita, that's why I tak nak announce. Okay, so therefore please text Amalina kalau you nak tahu, and you know, if you agree with your buying strategy or buying property with massive discount, you know, dapat cash and still positive cash flow, and you buy damn good properties lah, sebanyak yang boleh this year, right? So therefore, you know, I look forward to seeing you guys in the webinar on Saturday. And again, you know, I really apologize for starting the video late, but I think my webinar tonight, I think is the info I give you. I am preparing you of apa yang bakal berlaku. Like I cakap daripada mula-mula tadi, ada orang yang whereby dia punya kedudukan akan jadi worse off 2 years from now sebab dia tak ada ilmu. I hope everyone that watches this video, your kedudukan 2 years from now will be much better off compared to today, because I have prepared you of what's coming based on what I see in 2009 and how I made my money in 2009. And I feel macam if I simpan seorang, because if I share with you, I tak jadi miskin pun. So you know, if anything, just doakan I sihat, you know, from COVID-19. Please also doakan our leaders continue to be sihat so that they can fight this battle together, because the last thing we need is a sick leader who tak boleh nak buat kerja, right? So let's do that. You know, I apologize kepada siapa-siapa yang malam Jumaat diorang delay because of me. But then again, korang hari-hari pun malam Jumaat kan, so kena quarantine ni, so tak payah nak komplain. So betul guys, again, if you find value dalam video yang I kongsikan, the first video kita buat dalam ni, you find any value, please share with people, get them to join this group. It's free guys, information bagi dalam ni terlampau banyak and I'm giving it for free, right? So if you love someone, you want them to be better off, get them to join group macam ni, you know, and I want this community to become bigger sebab there's a bonus here, okay? So the bonus here is that you know I buy a lot of property, my clients buy a lot of property, and when there's extra, mungkin kita akan buka kepada community ni for free. Mungkin lah. I have no guarantee sebab biasanya my client pun kapitalis juga macam I. But kalau ada, kita akan buka. Kalau tak ada, sorry lah. You know, I have to utamakan client dulu. So guys, insyaAllah I'll see you on Saturday on a very interesting punya webinar, stock versus property. Okay, so you guys boleh belajar dua-dua, because like I said, I'm a big believer in both. For the next 12 bulan ni, I want to do both, right? So to me, benda boleh buat dua-dua, kenapa nak pilih bro? Right? So therefore, tetamu jemputan will be Alvin from Equities Tracker. Okay, Equities Tracker, this guy is a value investor, pretty good guy, pretty chill guy, and like I said guys, share content ni tonight, you know, get people to join our community kat sini so that we can all belajar sama-sama sementara tengah quarantine for the next 3 minggu ni. Right? Assalamualaikum guys, be kinder to each other, love each other a little bit more. Assalamualaikum, and I'll see you again. Bye.